Welcome to the Rulebook Tavern Chronicles, where we are talking about role-playing games. Today, we will be taking a deep dive into the Pathfinder RPG's Bard class.
The Bard.
You know that spellcasting maestro who can inspire allies, demoralize enemies, and practically bend reality with their words and music.
It's fascinating how the Bard bridges the gap between performer and spellcaster.
Right.
Their art isn't just for show.
Mm-hmm.
They channel arcane and occult energies, turning music into magic, which makes them such a unique asset to any adventuring party.
Right, so we're not talking about your typical lute-strumming minstrel here.
Right.
This is a class that can really shake things up on the battlefield and in social encounters.
Yeah.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty,
Sure.
give us the lowdown. What are the core strengths and weaknesses of a bard?
Well, the Bard's primary strength lies in its incredible versatility.
Okay.
They are proficient in skills, magic, and combat, making them adaptable to a wide array of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Think of them as the ultimate multi-tool for your party. They can talk their way out of trouble, support their allies in a fight, or even sneak past enemies with surprising agility.
I like it.
However, this versatility comes with a trade-off.
Okay.
While they can do a bit of everything, they might not excel in any one area like a dedicated class.
So they are masters of none, but pretty good at everything.
Exactly.
That's a classic RPG conundrum. I can see how that could be a challenge for players who like to hyper-focus on one specific playstyle. But for someone who enjoys wearing many hats, the Bard sounds like an absolute blast.
It is.
So let's say you're ready to create a Bard, which ancestries, aside from the dragon blood options, work well with this charming musical class, especially for beginners sticking to the core rulebooks.
Excellent question.
Yeah.
For a newer player, choosing an ancestry that complements the Bard's inherent strengths can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Halflings, for example, with their natural charisma and nimbleness, make fantastic bards.
They do.
Their bonuses to dexterity and charisma are ideal for a bard's skill set and spell casting. In fact, there are specific halfling feats, like halfling luck, that can really enhance their performance, allowing them to re-roll failed checks.
It's like halflings were born to be bards.
Right?
With their love for music, stories, and good company, it's such a natural fit. And let's be honest, their smaller stature can be a real advantage in a dungeon crawl. They can squeeze through tight spaces and maybe even sneak past a sleeping ogre or two.
Absolutely. Now, for those who prefer a more adaptable approach, humans make excellent bards as well.
Yeah.
Their versatility allows them to specialize in any area they choose. With their extra skill training and free ability boost, they can become a more combat-oriented bard or lean into their social skills by choosing a heritage, like versatile heritage, which lets them pick up useful traits from other ancestries.
So halflings give us that natural-born performer vibe, while humans offer a blank slate we can customize to fit any party role. Got it. But a bard is more than just their ancestry, right? Their background also plays a huge role in shaping their story and skills. What are some of the best background options for a budding bard?
Backgrounds add so much depth to a bard's persona. Consider the performer background. It's the quintessential image of a wandering minstrel, well-versed in the art of performance, which, as you know, is critical for a bard's abilities.
It's essential.
It may seem like the obvious choice, but sometimes the obvious choice is the best one, especially for new players.
It's a classic for a reason. But what if you want to break away from the wandering minstrel stereotype? Are there any less conventional backgrounds that could work well for a bard?
Definitely.
Okay.
The criminal background might seem counterintuitive at first, but imagine a charming rogue with a silver tongue using their wit and guile to deceive enemies and get what they want. They'd be trained in skills like deception and stealth, which can be incredibly valuable for a bard who prefers a more shadowy approach.
Ooh, I love that. A bard who can charm their way into a castle, then use their stealth to slip past the guards. That's a story waiting to happen. Now let's talk about the heart of a bard's magic. Their spells. What should we prioritize when building our spell repertoire? What are the spell types that really let a bard shine?
Bards have a limited number of spells they know, so choosing wisely is crucial.
Okay.
Enchantment spells are a must-have
Right.
for any bard.
Okay.
They're perfect for controlling the battlefield or influencing social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
Spells like Charm and Suggestion can be used to subtly manipulate enemies,
I like it.
turning them against each other or
All right.
making them see things your way.
So it's mind control, but with music. I love it.
Right.
What other spell types should be on our bard's must-have list?
Illusion spells. They open up a world of trickery and deception.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine casting Phantom Pain
Yeah.
to make an enemy think they've been injured,
Mm-hmm.
or using invisibility to vanish from sight, creating chaos and confusion on the battlefield.
Illusions are a fantastic way for a bard to outsmart their opponents, both in combat and social situations. It's all about using your creativity and performance to gain the upper hand. And finally, what about spells for supporting allies? After all, bards are known for their ability to bolster their companions.
Support spells are where bards truly shine in a
Okay.
team setting. They can cast spells like Heroism to bolster their allies' courage, giving them the strength to face even the most daunting foes.
Right.
And for a more tactical edge,
Oh.
haste can significantly increase an ally's speed, allowing them to strike first or evade attacks with incredible agility.
All right, so we've got ancestries, backgrounds, and spells sorted. Now, let's talk about actually playing a bard in the game. First up, combat. What's their primary role in a fight? Are they frontline fighters or more of a support class?
In combat, bards excel at supporting their allies rather than dealing direct damage. They act as a force multiplier, empowering their companions and hindering their enemies.
Okay.
Their compositions are key to this role,
Yeah.
allowing them to enhance their allies' abilities or
Oh.
hinder their enemies' actions. Think of them as the conductors of the battlefield, orchestrating the flow of combat to their advantage.
So instead of wading into the thick of battle, they're more like strategic puppet masters,
Right.
pulling the strings from a safe distance.
Yeah.
What are some specific examples of how a bard might use their compositions in combat?
Let's say you're facing a fearsome creature
Okay.
with a terrifying roar.
Well,
A bard could use their counter-performance composition to shield their allies from the auditory effects, preventing them from being frightened or disoriented.
right.
Or
Right.
they could use a composition cantrip like Inspire Courage
Okay.
to boost their allies' attack rolls,
Yeah.
giving them an edge in the fight.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like you're creating a sonic battle plan, weakening their enemies and strengthening their allies through music. Are there any feats that can help a bard maintain these compositions during a tough fight?
There are. Feats like effortless concentration allow a bard to sustain their buffs, ensuring their allies stay empowered even as the battle rages on.
Right.
And if things get really dicey, they can use a feat like Resounding Finale to end their composition prematurely, granting their allies sonic resistance against incoming damage. It's a strategic sacrifice that can save lives in a pinch.
Wow, those feats really highlight a bard's strategic thinking and ability to adapt to changing situations. But we all know combat isn't everything in an RPG. Bards are known for their mastery of social situations, where their words are their weapons. Tell us how they shine when diplomacy and deception take center stage.
This is where bards truly come into their element.
Okay.
They can use skills like diplomacy to win over hearts and minds, turning enemies into allies with their silver tongues.
Right.
Deception allows them to weave elaborate lies,
Yeah.
misleading their opponents and manipulating them to their advantage.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, their spells can amplify these skills,
Yeah.
making them even more persuasive.
So a bard can talk their way into or out of almost any situation.
Absolutely.
Give us a concrete example of how they might use their skills and spells in a social encounter.
Let's say the party needs to gain an audience with a reclusive noble,
Okay.
but the guards are incredibly strict.
Right.
A bard could use the make an impression skill action to try and win over the guards, charming them into granting access.
Right.
And to bolster their chances, they could cast a subtle charm spell,
Yeah.
making the guards more receptive to their request.
It's like they're using magic and their natural charisma to rewrite the script of the encounter, turning a potential obstacle into an opportunity. But bards aren't just smooth talkers. They're also masters of disguise and espionage.
Exactly. Bards can blend into any crowd,
Right.
using their performance skills to distract, misdirect, and gather intel.
Okay.
They're like chameleons of the social world, adapting to their surroundings and using their skills to turn any situation to their advantage.
So they can be the life of the party, the silent observer, the cunning manipulator.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Exactly.
But I'm sensing we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore about the art of playing a bard.
Precisely. And let's not forget about exploration.
Oh, yeah.
Bards aren't just charismatic and cunning. They're remarkably observant. Their keen senses and knack for detail make them invaluable when navigating tricky situations or uncovering hidden secrets.
Okay.
Think of them as the party's detectives.
So they're not just about smooth talking and spell slinging. They've got a keen eye for clues, too. What makes them so good at exploration?
Skills like perception and society are crucial.
Okay.
A bard with high perception can spot traps a mile away,
Right.
while someone skilled in society can read a room,
Yeah.
understanding the motivations of NPCs or deciphering social customs.
Okay.
And don't underestimate the power of lore. Knowing the history of a region or even just identifying a magical artifact can be game-changing.
It's like they've got a built-in encyclopedia of knowledge, always ready with a relevant fact or anecdote. Makes you wonder if they ever sleep. Speaking of knowledge, we talked about the types of spells bards favor, but are there any specific must-have spells that really stand out? The kind of spells that make other adventurers say, wow, I wish I had that in my arsenal.
Oh, absolutely. Discern Secrets is a prime example. This spell lets a bard peer into the thoughts of others, uncovering hidden truths and motivations. It's a game changer in social encounters, negotiations, or even when trying to root out a traitor in your midst.
Wow.
Imagine being able to cut through the lies and get straight to the heart of the matter.
Talk about a truth serum. That's got to be invaluable in a world full of shady characters and political intrigue. Are there any other spells that can give a bard that extra edge in a tricky social situation?
Well, consider Zone of Truth.
Zone of Truth.
It compels those within its area to speak nothing but the truth, making it almost impossible for anyone to lie or deceive.
Okay.
Imagine using that during a tense negotiation or to expose a culprit's guilt.
Yeah.
No more beating around the bush.
Zone of Truth. That's got to be one of the most powerful spells in a bard's arsenal. It's like having a magical lie detector.
Yeah.
But magic isn't just about manipulating others. It's also about protecting yourself and your allies. What defensive spells should a bard keep handy?
Mirror image is a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
It creates illusory duplicates of the bard, making them much harder to hit in combat.
Right.
It's a fantastic way to create confusion and buy yourself some time. And if you need a quick escape, there's always invisibility. Imagine vanishing from sight just as the enemy is about to strike. Talk about a disappearing act.
Mirror image and invisibility. Those are classic spells for a reason. They've saved countless adventures from sticky situations. But let's not forget about a bard's most potent weapon, their words. How can they use their silver tongues to influence and manipulate others?
A skilled bard understands the power of persuasion.
Right.
One of the most effective techniques is the make an impression skill action. It allows them to charm, persuade, or even intimidate an NPC, swaying their opinion or gaining their favor.
Yeah.
Imagine making a friend out of a potential enemy or convincing a guard to look the other way.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
It's all about reading the room, understanding your audience, and delivering your words with impact. A skilled bard can inspire a crowd to action, negotiate a peace treaty, or even talk their way out of a dungeon. But mastering the art of persuasion takes practice and a deep understanding of social dynamics.
Absolutely. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah.
A bard's tone of voice, their body language, and their ability to connect with someone on an emotional level, these are all crucial elements in their arsenal of persuasion. They are, in essence, masters of communication.
And that mastery extends to gathering information.
Yes.
Bards, with their natural storytelling abilities and knack for conversation, are fantastic at extracting information from NPCs. What skills make them particularly good at this?
Diplomacy is a must-have.
Right.
A bard with high diplomacy can effortlessly win over hearts and minds, gleaning valuable intel through seemingly casual conversation. But don't underestimate the power of deception.
Okay.
A cunning bard can weave elaborate lies, Right. Leading their target down a carefully constructed path.
Yeah.
Ultimately manipulating them into revealing secrets they never intended to share.
So it's about knowing when to play the charming friend and when to embrace a more cunning approach. Diplomacy for building trust, deception for when you need to dig a little deeper. A true bard knows when to use each tool in their arsenal. But a bard's knowledge isn't limited to the present. They often have a keen interest in history and ancient lore. What skills help them in these scholarly pursuits?
Skills like arcana and occultism
Okay.
allow a bard to decipher ancient texts,
Right.
identify magical artifacts, and unravel the mysteries of the universe. It's like they have a sixth sense for magic and history, allowing them to connect the dots and see patterns others might miss. And of course, their knowledge of history can be invaluable. Understanding past events and the motivations of those who came before can shed light on present-day challenges.
It's like having a time-traveling historian in your party, always ready with a historical anecdote or a piece of forgotten lore that can turn the tide in your favor. But knowledge is only powerful if you know how to apply it. How can a bard use their skills and spells to overcome challenges in the game?
Let's say the party comes across a locked door, barring their way. A bard with thievery skills could try to pick the lock, bypassing the obstacle with their nimble fingers. Or maybe they use their knowledge of engineering to disable a trap, outsmarting the dungeon's designer.
Or maybe they just use their charm and deception skills to convince whoever's behind the door to open up. But what if those options fail? Does the bard just give up and turn back?
Of course not.
Okay.
There's always magic. A bard could cast Knock to magically unlock the door, bypassing any pesky locks or mechanisms. Or, for a more dramatic approach, they could use Dimension Door to teleport themselves and their allies right past the obstacle.
Wow.
Imagine the look on their faces when they suddenly materialize on the other side.
Talk about making an entrance. It seems like bards always have a trick up their sleeve, ready to adapt to any situation. It's this combination of skills, spells, and quick thinking that makes them such valuable assets to any adventuring party. Speaking of assets, let's talk about gear. What kind of equipment is essential for a bard to thrive in their adventures?
Well, this one's a bit obvious.
Yeah.
A bard's instrument is their most prized possession.
Right.
Whether it's a lute, a flute, a drum, or even a set of bagpipes. Their instrument is the channel for their magic and the source of their inspiration.
Right.
It's an extension of themselves, reflecting their personality and their unique style.
It's like a wizard's staff or a fighter's sword.
Yeah.
A tool that is both practical and symbolic, imbued with power and personal meaning. But beyond their instrument, what else should a bard pack for a successful adventure?
A good disguise kit is a must-have for a bard who needs to blend into a crowd.
Okay.
Or assume a different identity. Imagine infiltrating a high society party as a nobleman, or slipping into a seedy tavern disguised as a rogue.
Right.
The possibilities for intrigue are endless. And for those who delve into the realms of magic and mystery, a well-stocked spellbook is essential for expanding their repertoire and mastering new spells.
Correct.
It's like a portable library of arcane knowledge, ready to be unleashed at a moment's notice.
And let's not forget about the practicalities of adventuring life.
Yeah.
A sturdy backpack to carry all those essentials, a reliable set of lockpicks for those inevitable locked doors, a few healing potions for when things get rough, and maybe even a map of the region you're exploring. But a bard's true strength lies not in their possessions, but in their ability to connect with others, inspire hope, and weave magic through their words and music. It's those intangible qualities that make them truly special.
Absolutely. It's their charisma, their wit, their empathy, and their unwavering belief in the power of stories and song that truly set bards apart. They are the heart and soul of any adventure, reminding us that even in the darkest of times, there is always room for music, laughter, and hope.
Beautifully said. It seems like we've covered a lot of ground in our deep dive into the world of bards. We've explored their strengths and weaknesses, delved into their skills and spells, and even touched upon their essential gear and the importance of their instruments. But I have a feeling there's still so much more to discover. It feels like we've only just begun to unravel the mysteries of the bard. There's so much depth to this class. So many possibilities for creating a unique and memorable character.
Indeed. Every bard's journey is different,
Right.
shaped by the choices they make, the
Wow.
stories they tell,
Yeah.
and the companions they adventure with. But if there's one thing we want you to take away from this deep dive,
No.
it's that playing a bard is all about embracing creativity, versatility,
Uh-huh.
and the sheer power of performance.
So what does this all mean for you, dear listener? If you're drawn to a character who can charm their way through any situation,
Right.
inspire their allies with a song, and weave magic through their words, then the bard might just be your perfect match. Imagine stepping into the shoes of a wandering minstrel,
Yeah.
spreading joy and tales of heroism through the land. Or perhaps you see yourself as a cunning rogue, using your silver tongue and quick wit to outsmart your enemies and leave them utterly bewildered.
Perhaps you envision yourself as a courtly musician,
Right?
your melodies shaping the destiny of kingdoms.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're drawn to the role of a daring adventurer, using your skills and spells to uncover ancient secrets and face down terrifying monsters.
It's a cool class.
The possibilities are truly endless when you embrace the spirit of the bard.
It's all about finding your own unique voice and letting your creativity guide you. Whether you're using your spells to support your allies, your skills to outwit your foes, or your performance to captivate an audience. Remember that a bard's true power lies in their ability to connect with others and weave magic through their art.
So go forth,
Yeah.
brave adventurer, and let your story unfold.
Hope you enjoyed this podcast with us and see you soon to talk about other classes.